We're playing ska today, and I wonder why.
Why are we playing ska, Nick?
We're playing ska because we've got the new ska legend from Deaf Guitar Pop and old friend Olly Hookings on today.
Hello, mate.
Bonjour, gentlemen.
How you
I'm really
doing?
pleased to have you on. I haven't
Pleasure
seen you
to
for
be
a
here.
while.
Yeah,
I think last time I saw you was at a hardcore listing one, wasn't it?
Was it the Christmas do?
Oh yeah, was it that? I
Typical,
filmed it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's
good.
Good night, that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Adam, Visek, the Milk,
Yeah.
and what's his name? John Moore.
John Moore.
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine. Man.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Good little crowd.
You've been fucking smashing it lately. And I really I tell you what, if anyone's listening and you like ska, listen to Deaf Guitar Pop.
Definitely.
Basically, they're really fucking catchy tunes. Like your first
Thanks,
one,
mate.
Rickety Train, straight away I was like, fuck. Like, on paper it shouldn't make sense, but it properly does.
Thanks, man.
It really does, and I was just thinking, fucking hell, like it was a big departure from your last band, States of Motion. Who I also
I
really
love
liked.
States of Motion. Was
Yeah.
it Way That Unwired?
Yeah,
Because I used to play on Phoenix, and that come out because I knew Mark.
Right.
I used to play that every week, mate. Smashing it. It's
Thanks,
fucking
man.
Oh,
lovely
yeah, I
little
love that.
hook. Yeah.
I really love States of Motion. Then you did this, and I was like, I know, it's still like just a fucking catchy tune.
Thanks,
There's no
mate. Yeah, it's
denying
worlds
the
away from
catchiness.
SOE, innit? It
The
was
thing
well
is,
different. It was
like-
quite scary at first, actually, because I changed my singing style and everything. And I remember the first time, so Rickety Old Train was like the first tune I wrote for Deaf Guitar Pop. And I'd quit music for like a couple of months. I thought I was done forever for the foreseeable. And yeah, fuck it, I'll try something different because I've been listening to loads of ska. And I wanted to get a Jamaican singer. And sort of fell short of that, and I thought, oh fuck it, I'll just do the Suggs thing, you know, like singing my accent, and that might work. And I was really proud of the song, but really nervous because it was so different from what I was used to in SOE. And I remember the first time I played it to anyone, I played it to my brother Matt, and I was sat on a washing machine around our house. And I was shaking like a shitting dog, like in front of my own brother. I was so nervous because it was such a change. Yeah. And of course, like he was, you know, well supportive and really complimentary. And then it's all just kind of been like, I won't say plain sailing because we've been working our asses off, but it's been a very rewarding journey the last sort of 3 years or however long it's been, you know.
What's mad is it's
Something
sort
like
of
that,
like
yeah.
it was kind of like it almost come from nowhere. Like I love ska anyway, like I love Madness and that,
Yeah.
and specials and everything else, and like there is a whole world of it. Like even you looking at me now, thinking, "Fucking hell," there's like a million other people that you could have mentioned, but like they're the ones that come to mind straight away. And then you think like it hasn't been at the surface of anything for a kind of little while anywhere, kind of sort of
Definitely,
mainstream.
yeah.
But then when I see the videos that you were doing. And it just jumped out the screen, like the energy and like all the people around you. It looked like you had all your family and friends and stuff in there.
Yeah, that's
and I was
right,
like,
yeah.
mate, that cannot fail. It's so good. It's like so refreshing to see.
Thanks.
And it's like bang, and then another one, then another one.
It's
Then I
just
started
catchy
seeing like the
tunes, man.
club
You
night
can't
things
deny
and
a
the
catchy
festivals. It's
tune.
like mental.
Yeah,
It's
the
so
Cheers,
good.
mate.
festivals look fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm really jealous when I watched them. I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
And I tell you what I really like, though, more than anything, is that you've done it for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much to be said
glad
for
that
that.
comes
and,
through.
like, and coming off like the back of States of Emotion when like that, you know, it obviously didn't happen as maybe you wanted it to. So then go like not to give up, not just go fuck it, right, get a career now. Because I did that. You know,
I came
did
very
that in my 20s.
close. Yeah. It's hard not to, innit? Because that's the way society kind of pushes you, isn't it? You know.
Yep.
And I was very much. I mean, for a little while, I don't know if you remember, but I had like a car valeting business in Brentwood, and I was working really hard at sort of trying to expand that, and you know, it was a really good experience. You know, it helped pay for my wedding and stuff, and kept me fed for a couple of years. But because that kind of hit the ground running, whilst SOE was kind of failing miserably, I kind of started to think, well, perhaps this is what I should do then. Perhaps this is a real job, and I was just kind of chasing money, you know, and. It seemed like the sensible thing to do. And then when SOE kind of finished, it just, for a while I was really hurt by music. And I say a while, it was only really 2 months like that I completely had off and until I wrote Rickety Old Train. But 2 months, you guys will know if, you know, you're creative musicians yourself. It's a lifetime. It's all I've ever done, you know. So, But yeah, I nearly did. I nearly canned it in, and then thankfully, but like you say, it's kind of funny because I did just with SOE, although I poured my heart and soul into those songs. I did have a career in mind the whole time. It was very aspirational. And then with Deaf Guitar Pop, it's kind of gone that way. But at first, I was literally just doing it for me because I wanted to make some music.
And
like you say, yeah. So I'm really glad you picked up on that, man.
That's where
Thank
it comes
you.
from.
Yeah.
If you're not doing it for you and you're not doing it because it means something to you,
yeah,
you don't go anywhere. That's the problem. You do get swept up in that in bands though, and you're like, oh, right, we're gonna make it, and you kind of lose track of why you actually started doing it.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
like mates getting together and feeling good about it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, and you've always got to remind yourself of that. I mean, I was listening to your podcast yesterday, and I think it was episode 10 I was listening to, and you guys were talking about getting a bit jaded by this at first when it all started going really successful and like thinking about view counts and stuff. And that is the way it goes. Do you know what I mean? But you've always got, and that's great. It's good that you're trying to push it out there and build something. But at the same time, you've always got to remind yourself why you're doing it. And it's got to be, it's got to be for you first, isn't it? Really?
Get those little moments.
And then it's honest as well. Honesty is really important. I think in all factors of life, for me, being honest is always been a really important thing to me. Yeah. And if you're not being honest with yourself, then like you're fucked, mate. It's completely. Out the window. Yeah. And then you just lost track of it. So So we were talking about this a minute ago off air. But that's the one thing I say. Like when everything could be going on, we could be getting excited about things with a podcast, stuff happening recently, and you get excited. But essentially, when you sit down around this table, it's just fucking normal anyway. Yeah. You just come back to and then you're just doing what you do. Yeah. And that's basically what it's about. But so the reason why I wanted to get you on it, I wanted to get you on this right from the beginning, really. And I it's been a little while since we kind of first talked about it. Yeah. But there was that post that you put about states of emotion that you kind of put a really honest thing on there, talking about like crap you've been through. Mm-hmm. And like also the fact that you don't drink. Yeah. Like I think normally if someone's decided that they're not going to drink, there's a story behind that. Yeah, because definitely. Obviously the temptation, most people drink. So and that kind of in many ways that goes counter to the person I know. Right. Because like we don't know each other really well, but like we've met, we rehearsed in the same place for quite a while, didn't we? So like that was a bit different to the person I knew, and for me, when I kind of read something like that, it just makes me like you so much more. I really like to see that genuine, honest part of people. Yeah. And like that, that kind of to hear a bit about someone's story. Like I feel like putting yourself out there. Like I found that quite inspiring because almost like that's what we do now. And at the time, I'm like, fucking respect. Like I really felt it at the time. Man. Like I really respect that. It's like you're like, I put everything I've got into this. Yeah, I was in a emotional overdrive at that point. But I really don't regret doing that. It was very cathartic doing that. Yeah. And I just really respected it. And I just think it's really hard. People don't do that. People don't really talk openly about things. But like you did. I don't know, that kind of shit means the world to me.
I think quite often when you're in a band as well, and you've kind of got probably an image from school, and you're like, right, I want to portray this image of myself, that I want to be this particular band member in my head, front man or whatever. And then you've got an image that you want to uphold with the rest of the band. And you kind of like, it can be quite easy to just go along with that kind of image. Yeah. But then to be able to sort of say, no, do you know what? This something's not right. We're going to go and do this and try something else. It's huge.
Do you know the other thing I found with bands, and I still find it to this day, is that no one fucking talks in a band. No. You'd think a band would be a tight unit, but in every band I've been in, everything's been really quite surface. There's been moments, but it's very rare someone's going to go, that was really fucking good what you did there. Mm-hmm. Everyone's always like, well, if I say that's good, then that means I'm shit. Yeah, I refuse to do that. I won't do that. I'm like, no, that was fucking. It's really important. Yeah. So what? Yeah. So if you don't mind getting into it, then. No, so what fine. What got you to a point of that you kind of let your emotions out like that? What was going on for you?
Well, I've kind of, I guess, like, not on social media, because that was the first time I really kind of opened myself up, like, publicly. But I've always been an emotional extrovert with my friends and stuff.
What does that mean?
Just, like, very, like, open and honest about how I'm feeling, and yeah, just always just wore my heart on my sleeve, you know. Yeah, like, you know, been through a lot of shit with my mental health right from a young age. And just, yeah, that's just, I guess part of me dealing with it is, yeah, you know, being creative and writing songs about it, but also just like fucking burdening all my friends and family with my problems all the time. I've just always been very open about it all, you know.
See, that's quite different. So for me, like, I've had mental health problems since I was really quite young, and like since I've been doing this, the amount of people who've said like I never knew, and I'm like, I always kind of thought I was almost telling them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why didn't you fucking know? Well, I didn't say that, but like, I almost feel that because I kind of felt, but I never said it.
Yeah.
I was never honest about it because I always think, oh, everyone will just think I'm a cunt. But you didn't do that.
I get why you would have felt like that, because I think most do, don't they? But yeah, I don't know really. I don't know why I've always been like that. But the social media thing was actually, I felt really vulnerable doing that, because it's one thing kind of like, you know, having that circle of people around you that you kind of feel comfortable enough to just be honest with. But yeah, like putting it out there publicly was well vulnerable and scary, and yeah, just even now I put a video up on Mental Health Awareness Day last year. I think like last October or something on Dog Peace thing, and that was, again, it was like an uncomfortable thing to do. It just felt right, you know. But, you know, I say I'm comfortable in talking about it. It's also, I mean, I have my times where I don't, and I lock up and stuff, you know, as well. Like, so, like a few, like, yeah, I guess it's like you're sort of subconsciously just trying to be tough and like kind of, you know, the classic like brush it off and stuff. And like a few months ago, I was in quite a bad place and feeling very anxious every day. And I was kind of keeping it like from everyone for a little while. So like, it's not always like I'm just like it's bearing my soul, you know.
I do
like,
exactly that though. Like,
yeah.
I almost think, no, I'm all right, I can cope with it. I can stay on top of it. So I'm not gonna like burden anyone else with it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh shit, I can't cope with it.
Yeah.
And then my wife's like, why didn't you? I know, I could tell something was up. Why didn't you talk to me sooner? It's like, oh, thank fuck, I've got my wife or Brad and people to talk to. But like, you know, so well, you think so many men that the last person they're going to tell is their wife.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, he's not going to be able to pay the bills.
Yeah, but it's so important, isn't it, to have that open relationship. And you know, it's just like same thing with me. So a few months ago, I had a bit of a kind of anxiety attack, like sort of 11 in the daytime at our house, and yeah, like lucky enough, Steph, my wife, was there, and she sort of said to me, I mean, she knows me inside out and knows about yeah, like we've been through sort of everything together, and she's helped me work on my issues, and I've helped her work on hers as well. And yeah, she kind of like encouraged me to get back into therapy, and that was like April, and I've sort of been going fortnightly ever since. It's really, really helped. And if she hadn't have been there in that moment, perhaps I would have just kind of like, I don't know, internalized it, and it would have gone on longer. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I have my spells as well of locking it in, and then that usually, as you say, like, you know, results in a little bit of a meltdown at some point, doesn't it? You know?
So it's like what you say is like, you know that you've always got to be. I always just say it's like working the program. You've always got to be working on it.
Yeah.
And that means like just accepting that you're going to be having therapy on and off.
Yes.
You know, like there's times when you're not coping and you'll go and have a bit of therapy for a month or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then but like when you finish your therapy, I always leave the door wide open. I'm like, I'll probably be back.
Yeah.
But like, I feel better knowing that it's there. But I have therapy every week anyway. I've had therapy every week for a year now.
Yeah.
It's nearly a year. Yeah, I have group psychotherapy. And some days I'm like, I'm well. Lately, I've been like, I'm well. I don't need to be here. But it's really is. Like, my therapist really is like sitting in AA.
Yeah.
But so often, I'm like, even now, like, I think I'm well, and I'll go in, and someone else will say something, and I'll be like, fucking hell. I didn't even realise that was an issue. But now I know it is. Like, I know what to look for. And like, I just, even this far down the line in my life, I'm still picking up on shit.
Yeah.
So it's always worth it, I think.
Definitely.
I totally
Yeah.
feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you come out there with a real spring in your step, don't you? And you think, oh, fucking hell, I feel $1 million after that. And you get that instant gratification.
Yeah, sometimes you don't.
And then other times you're in bits, aren't you? I mean, I had one the other week, and it was textbook, actually. It was one that I was going to, and I was driving there, and I thought, don't know what I'm going to talk about today. Like, I kind of just feel a bit, I don't know, like, what's the word, really? Just somewhere in the middle. I don't really feel like, you know... Yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to bring to the table, and that's been like my heaviest one. Things from my childhood just popped out of nowhere, and I was weeping like a little baby by the end of it. And
that's really true, because those are normally the days when I have it. And I'm like, there's nothing going on. I've got nothing to say.
Yeah,
I'm really shit and not talking at best of times, and then suddenly out of nowhere, I'm just like, actually. Because they go, right, we'll just, everyone stop for a minute, like, kind of take a minute, breathe, think about what you want to bring to the session. And I'm normally like, just, fucking loads of shit.
Yeah.
But it's normally when I haven't got a lot to say, is when it goes really deep. So is it mostly anxiety then? Do you mind if I smoke?
No, go for it, man. Yeah, it's a mixture of things, really. I mean, when I was a teenager, I was really badly depressed, like, you know, crippling, like crying all the time, and
exactly the same as me.
I used to go to bed and just cry, you know, every night.
Unstoppable.
Yeah, rough, man. And I just I really didn't look after myself as a teenager. I didn't love myself one bit, you know. And in my 20s, it was kind of like destructive behaviour with drugs and drink and stuff. And then I guess, since I kicked the booze and drugs, which was like 7.5 years ago now, things have been a lot better, and I've really got my life in order. And I can sort of say, hand on heart, you know, I'm happy and balanced. I still have mental health struggles, because that's just part and parcel of my being. But yeah, I guess, like, in recent years, since I stopped drinking, it's the anxiety, you know. It's kind of like, you know, sometimes it won't be there for like sort of like long periods, but I don't know, I always have to be aware that I have like coping mechanisms, you know, and I have to kind of go through every day I have to wake up and be very mindful about how I start that day, and how, you know, I have to check in with myself constantly to just stay focused and happy and rational, you know.
That's like when we were talking nearly to my mum, it's one thing that I'd heard about him before, is he's kind of his rituals, and like you have the rituals that keep you together. I tend to have a lot of that on the way to work.
Yeah, mornings are important.
And like the kind of talking myself into the day.
Yeah. Do you find you're quite bad in the mornings? Is that like one of your worst times? Yeah, that's the hardest time.
That's kind of, it's got a lot better. I used to wake up every morning angry as fuck and hating the world.
Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but it's just it's healthy to laugh about it.
Exactly. We got to.
Only because I can relate to it, you know.
Just really, really angry. And I don't know. Look, I'm probably the wellest I've ever been, and I don't find it as much now. I've been through a really good period lately. I'm starting to feel it a little bit more, like just that waking up feeling really angry and being annoyed that I've woken up, because I'm like, because I was always like, I hate the world, I hate my life. Why do I want to get up? So I never used to get up. I used to always be really fucking late for work, and but I sorted that out, and that's another thing. If you kind of straighten out, like you're not fucking on the piss all the time, you're not taking loads of drugs, it's easier. You wake up in a better frame of mind.
Yeah.
Generally. It's funny, like you said about that, like you not drinking at all, and not doing anything. Like I had this conversation, name drop, with Nick McCabe, and he was going, you need to stop everything, because like he said that was the only way you got on top of it. Like he still has his dips like you do, like you said, but like basically I know when I get pissed, like the next day I don't feel as good as I would normally. And then I'm much more susceptible to feeling low.
Yeah.
So if you don't drink at all, then you kind of bypass that whole fucking issue.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like, you know, alcohol and drugs to an extent are a mood enhancer, aren't they? And if you're happy-go-lucky, you know, balanced individual, whatever that is, you know, it'll bring out a funny, fun side to you. Do you know what I mean? More lovable, more jovial.
Yeah, that's what
but if you've got,
always did for me.
yeah, but if you've got a real deep darkness, it can go way the other way, can't it?
I found I had to like relearn who I was when I really slowed down at drinking.
Yeah.
And then I didn't go out for ages. And then sort of family occasions, I'd be there, and I kind of had to relearn like how to approach people. When normally like. When you piss, you kind of, before you know it, you're already in someone's face. You're probably already like done loads of ego, like I'm this, that, and there. And it's like learning how to sort of reinitiate conversation and talk to people and stuff like that. I found out I basically had to relearn who I actually was. Because since a teenager, I've had like false confidence, false Brad really for such a long time.
When you were describing like growing up was like basically the same as me, and I think the same as you. You know, like that kind of early part where you're like, I remember like right up into my 20s, basically I used to just cry uncontrollably quite a lot, and like there was stuff going on in my life, like my parents splitting up and things like that would confirm that upset, but like that was like, I always knew when it was really bad because I would cry and cry and cry. I can't cry anymore since taking fucking mountains of antidepressants. I can't cry. Sometimes I wish I could, but yeah, and then that kind of that self-destructive, and I think drugs and booze is part of that self-destructive part. You know, it's like I don't fucking care about myself, so why do I give a shit about this? Yeah, and that's totally it. It really is.
I mean, I can really relate to what you're saying, Brad. In that, when I stopped, perhaps this is where little anxiety started to creep in. I'd be out at like, if you're like almost like a neutral, like in a neutral social environment, like a wedding where you don't know many people, or whatever, and like interacting, like introducing myself to people that I don't know, haven't met before. That all of a sudden something clicks in my head, and I'm like, fuck, man, I really lean on having like 4 or 5 beers to loosen up and
have one when you're getting ready, maybe.
I was a bit of a Jack the Lad, and then I just kind of went way the other way, and it's good. It humbled me. I feel like it's made me a nicer person to be around. But it's an uncomfortable process. Very character building.
Normally, the most important processes are the most uncomfortable. Unfortunately,
of course,
just rock it through them.
Yeah, and that's where you learn it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I still fucking drink like when I went out recently and I just drank loads because I hadn't been out socially for a bit, and I still do it. If I go out, I tend to just fucking really
hammer it,
and just to kind of almost because to make me who I want to be, which is bullshit, man. Because like I have much better conversations otherwise. Actually, I don't want to just talk to everyone. I just want to talk to a few people and have a good chat.
Yeah, I'm more like that, I'm not like one of those people that goes around and will like chat to everybody in the pub that night. I like to have a deep sort of intellectual chat with like a couple of people.
It feels like more worthwhile or something else.
Yeah.
So what happened with you then? When did you first start? How old were you when you first started having problems?
So, it kind of like began when I was 9.
Same here.
Really?
Yeah.
9, yeah? No age, is it, man?
No, it's not, but that's exactly the same time as me, 9.
Was that when your parents split up?
No, they split up when I was 21.
Right.
But I think for me it was about like becoming more self-aware. I also got the shit kicked out of me like about a year later, which really kind of drew me into myself.
Right.
But
like an unprovoked attack?
Yeah. I had a couple of really bad hidings.
Shit, man.
And that really, really threw me. But all that did was confirm what I was going through already. So I was already starting to feel uncomfortable, which I think everyone does. Like you start getting a bit older, and I think 9 is that age when you start becoming more self-aware. And I just couldn't deal with it. And because of like the way I'd been treated when I was younger, before that, and being put down and everything, that became who I was. So when I became self-aware, my self-awareness was basically, oh, you're really shit. So like that, and that was kind of family shit. All made me go that way. But it's funny at 9. I think 9 is the age when you start kind of going through puberty and all of those things, and then your emotions are becoming much more to the fore anyway.
Yeah,
it makes it harder to deal with.
I can relate to the self-awareness thing. I think that's another thing that's contributed to my anxiety, like since I've stopped the booze and that, because you do, the more self-aware you become and the more you learn about the world and stuff, the more conscious you become, don't you? And if you're susceptible to anxiety, that can be, a curse. Like, because it's good. I'd rather be that way. I'd rather be, because otherwise you're pretty much a narcissist, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a double-edged sword. It's like it's a nightmare. Then in the other way, it's also kind of makes you more aware, more caring,
compassionate,
and have more empathy. And those are all lovely things to have, although not typically male traits.
Yeah, and you've just got to learn to be kind to yourself within that process. That's the art of it.
That's huge.
That's the difficult part in all that, because of course it's great to develop like compassion and a self-awareness that makes you a nicer, just more humble, warm person. But then you can also talk to yourself like a piece of shit in the process, can't you? And spook yourself a bit. That's
exactly it. Exactly it.
Yeah.
And that's it. And within that, somewhere, you have to be kind to yourself. And that's the hardest part. I tell people that all the time. Like when people message us on the socials and things, and they're going through a difficult time, I'm like, do not forget yourself in here. Be kind to yourself. Stop blaming yourself for everything.
Yeah, man.
So did you ever go to the doctors or anything when you were younger?
Yeah, so basically when I was 9, that's when my parents split up. And our house got repossessed, and we went to, so it was me and my 2 younger brothers and my mum. And basically, obviously I've been through all of this in therapy, and one of the sessions I had in my early 20s, I just went there and like broke down. I had a shit list of so many things. It was in Chelmsford, so I got the train and I was in a really dark place, and I was angry, upset. I thought, right, I'm going to mention this, I'm going to mention that. I had so many, just loads of trivial shit, do you know what I mean? And I didn't really know what the root problem was. And I sat there in the chair and she said, why are you here? And without even kind of thinking, I just went to say, my mum's an alcoholic, and I couldn't talk. I was like completely mowed, like just crying for about half an hour, like with a box of tissues. Bless her, this therapist, I only actually went for 1 session with her, but I was in there for like 2.5 hours.
Wow,
she was a real angel, and it was a real breakthrough session. I'd been like as a teenager, and I kind of just went there and like ranted and didn't really understand. No, but this was like a breakthrough, and she basically told me that I was sort of forced to become the man of the house aged 9, and that was a hell of a responsibility. And my mum's illness is a real bad one, and she's like very Jekyll and Hyde, kind of drunk. Like if you meet my mum sober, she's a lovely person. Couldn't meet a nicer, more sort of warmer human being, but unfortunately when she has a drink, she's a monster. And
as with a lot of people.
And it was hard, it was just a hard thing growing up, having to deal with that Jekyll and Hyde energy.
In practical terms, you actually become the man in the house.
Yeah, it was a survival thing.
Someone's got to look after everyone else.
Yeah, it was a survival thing. So that's where a lot of it started, and I feel like I took it on the chin for like a lot of my youth, and then I don't know, I got to senior school and that was tough because I was a real late bloomer, like with puberty and things. I was like the shortest kid in my year. That was very emasculating. I was into alternative music. I wanted to be a rock star, and like the youth culture then just did not cater for that. You were called a grunger and beaten up. So I had to fucking, I covered that shit up. I was ashamed of it, which was, it was real shame, innit? And then when I was 15, pal in my, I think you know this story actually, Nick. Pal in my form, who I'd bonded with throughout school, whose brother was really cool and kind of used to make us like mixtapes with like Nirvana and Motorhead and shit on. Yeah, he was like kind of, me and him really bonded, and he gave me like, he hooked me up with my guitar teacher and stuff, and I just idolized the kid. He passed away in our last year at school, and it was really sudden as well. It all happened over a weekend. He got meningitis, and he was literally chasing me down around the exam hall Friday evening, giving me a dead arm, coming to school Monday, and he was gone. And then I lost my granddad around the same time, who I was really, really close with. And then, just kind of things just sort of spiraled then into a real depression, and I got to college at 16 and I was just fucked, mate. I wasn't ready for anything,
that
you know.
kind of thing, though, like, at that point, you can't make sense of stuff much at that age anyway.
No.
And then you've got all this really heavy shit going on, you know, like deaths, like, and it just throws you. You're like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And like, it's really, and I think it's like the natural response is to go into a depression.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's like the kind of natural way. But then if you then add on top of that everything else that was going on,
just lots of stress.
You can't see you can't see through it.
No, I wasn't equipped for that. You know, I was too. Yeah.
Did you find comfort in like friends and music? Like, did you find? So I sort of worked out that I went out and found new families almost through the music that I liked, and friends.
You had a similar
definitely
experience, didn't you? As in your parents split up, and then that kind of similarly happened with you.
Yeah, along them sort of lines. And I found myself wanting to almost create a life of, I listen to this sort of type of music, or I go out with these friends and everything else, and not like make it up, but I kind of found myself not going home at weekends and like trying to stay out longer, not going to school, not going to work. You're kind of like, you're kind of caught up in this whole other life.
And that,
yeah, definitely. I think especially with music as well, it's easy to do if you're in bands and stuff. You go in like from one place to the other, you kind of get caught up in it. But we'd go for drives down Southend. I just wouldn't come home for like 3 or 4 days, kind of sleeping in the back of cars and stuff. Like musically as well. Did you find like solace in that? Has it always been there for you?
Yeah, I think it kept me alive, mate. To be honest with you, you know, like I was talking about earlier, you know, when I had that little period off, I kind of resented music and thought, oh, it's a bit of a curse, like picking this for a career. Like, it's fucking the most difficult thing in the world. But actually looking back now and having made my peace with it all, I realise now without that outlet, you know, I met my best friends through being in the band. I met my wife through being in the band. And just having that kind of cathartic thing to kind of try and make sense of my emotions and how I was feeling. Just if it were, I kind of just became obsessed with it and immersed myself in it.
Yeah, of course.
Probably to an unhealthy extent, and didn't really even know how to, because I wasn't very well upstairs. I couldn't really cope with anything. But whatever that was, it kind of I just clung to it.
There's worse things to be addicted to. Though,
yeah.
I always think
kept me alive.
I always think like one of the best things I ever did was learn to play guitar. The amount of things it's got me into, like the fun things, and like some of my best experiences have been through like doing music, and like even in those dark periods, just having a guitar. I just used to lie on my bed.
It's like having a friend there, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like, this is just for me, and like, I still do. You know, I still like I basically draw or play guitar. Yeah. And that's what I do, and that's what I'll always do. You know, it's like
awesome.
You take on something you'll do for the rest of your life, and it's pretty special.
Yeah.
I was trying to tell my daughter that today.
Oh.
And she was like, how do I make money? I was like, you won't make no money.
A bit of busking.
Yeah. No, that's what she said. And I was like, she went, well, I can play all the open chords. I was like, yeah, you can. And like, you did learn them in about 5 minutes and still remember them. I'm like, that's a skill.
How old's your daughter?
She's 12 now. She was getting really stressed out today because she said she hasn't found her thing. Her thing to like, that's really kind of like about her and is special and that will take her for the rest of her life. And I'm like, yeah, you're you're overreaching.
Yeah, it's 12, man.
I was like, just do things you like.
Got a good 30 odd years before you start working that stuff
out. And if you
out.
put that much weight on it, you won't learn it.
Yeah,
that's right.
Does it feel like a job? You've got to do something you just love and just do it because it's like. Like, that's why I never did acoustic guitar or electric guitar. I went straight to electric just because when you bang it, you feel it in your chest.
Yeah, fucking right.
And I was like, I'm fucking Angus Young.
It's difficult with the kids because, like, I definitely remember my dad actually wrote out the chords, like drew little dots and where to hold it. And I've still got the bits of paper.
So your dad played?
Yeah, well, he's dead now. But like when we were kids, I vaguely remember him playing a bit when we were younger. But he used to have the guitar on the wall. And I used to like climb up. I weren't really allowed to touch it, but I'd climb up on the table and like strum the strings. I worked out like a song with like 3 strings, and then I don't know why, but he never forced it on me or anything like that. Yeah. And I'd naturally, like when I was back home with my mum, started playing. My mum bought me one and like started playing songs. And I'd go back to him and try and impress him. And like, it'd all be on one string up and down the fretboard and everything else. And then one day, like, I must have been quite a bit older because I kind of remember it, but just writ out the chords. And said, if you learn these chords, you'll be able to play pretty much every song, you know, C, F, G, E, whatever. And yeah, like I say, I've still got a bit of paper. And there's a bit of me, when I had Buddy, he's like 5 now, that thought, I'll have this day one day when I sort of sit down with him and got the guitar. But I didn't want to sort of force it on him. So all mine are sort of hung up in strategic places, one on the floor. We got him one for Christmas, like a little one. No interest in it whatsoever. And it's like, do I like keep like force it? Do I not? Kind of thing. It's like so difficult. But what's amazing, he's got into breakdancing, and I can't breakdance. I've always wanted to as well. So it's like, and he's naturally just gone off and done it on his own. So I'm super proud of him anyway. But
it's awesome.
Just see me playing. Like, I've got guitars all over the house. I'm a fucking guitar maniac. And she was, and she just saw me doing it all the time, and she was like, and she wanted to do it with me. And I taught her like a couple of chords, and I went, let's write a song.
I love that.
Like how easy, and I was like, don't try and play fucking whoever she's into, Ariana Grande.
Slipknot. Slipknot.
No.
And
I was like, no, don't do that. Like, let's just like do a song together. And I was like, we could do it. Just do 2 chords, done. And then she was trying to learn to play keyboards, and I was like, I don't know how to play keys, but I was like, roughly, I could play along with you, I think. And then we just do a tune together.
I love that.
Mate, that was really special.
Yeah,
really special.
That's the one.
So, so during that time then, so you kind of like, it really hit you like, how old were you when you had like the good one, when you went in Chelmsford?
Oh, so I would have been like, mate, I don't know if I'd quit. I think I'd quit drinking at that point, actually. I don't know, yeah, probably like 25. I'm 32 now. Yeah, around 25, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's recently been not that long that you've really kind of
no, but yeah,
stuck into
I guess so, yeah. Been doing a lot of work, man, yeah, last few years. Feels like a lifetime ago, that session, but yeah, I guess it wasn't that long ago, actually, like mid-20s, yeah. So
do you ever have medication or anything?
No, actually, when I was 18, I had a bit of a nervous breakdown. Fucking terrible, man. I smashed up a Gibson Les Paul.
What the hell?
No way. What fucking spoiled little prick.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know Les Pauls.
I do. I'm gutted for you, mate.
This was a lovely Les Paul. They're not my guitar of choice anymore, but this was a lovely. I got it back. There's a lovely story about it, actually. I'll tell you in a sec. But yeah, I had this fucking nervous breakdown, and my nan took me to see the doctor, and it got me into my first therapy sessions, actually. And yeah, and at the time, my nan, I don't know, you know, old-fashioned views or whatever, she was like, you're not putting him on them because he's too young and he'll be on them forever. Like, if he becomes reliant on them. Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Yeah, it's not 100%.
I've got
untrue.
Yeah, I mean, I've got pals that take them and really reap the benefits. Do you know what I mean? So I'm certainly not. But that was just her thing at the time, and she was leading the way. I was young, so I
just think that if you've managed without them, then you've managed, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, they might help me. I don't know. They might help keep anxiety at bay and stuff. Like you know, but yeah, so far I haven't used them. Do you know what I mean? But I wouldn't be. Yeah, I'm kind of sat on the fence with it, really. Do you know what I mean? I'm open-minded yeah, everything.
I think normally, like if you've got this far, unless you hit a moment of despair where you're like, I've got to do something.
Yeah.
Then you'll probably be okay. I don't see, because the other thing is like quite often like they'll give you like I call them jellies, but they're not. That's what they used to call them in Manchester, like diazepams and things like that.
Oh right, yeah, yeah.
And, like they're fucking quite. I've had fucking loads of them over the years, and like they just not through prescription. They kind of like, but they'll really fucking zone you right out.
Right.
You get that kind of nice opiate buzz off of it.
Right, cool.
But that often isn't that helpful, especially if you've been self-destructive.
Right.
Because like, it's really easy to step back into self-destruction.
You can end up sort of binging them a bit. Yeah.
They're nice.
I should imagine, like, with not drinking, it must be easier to kind of work out what your sort of level day-to-day state of, like,
oh yeah,
this is me, this is Ollie today, and I'm like,
that's
quite
true,
level.
yeah.
Obviously, there might be days where you look back and think, fucking hell, that was mental. Or other days where you're like, oh, that was all right. But I'm guessing, because I don't know, because I'm completely locked into this whole mad alcohol thing at the moment. But,
okay,
like, it must help to have a bit, wake up with a clearer head.
Yeah, I mean,
just not have that kind of degree of, like,
I think that makes a difference.
Yeah, I think that I'm all like, I've definitely got clarity most days. That doesn't mean to say I feel good most days.
No, yeah, I'm not saying
there's a balance
it's all
there.
one way.
But yeah, there's always clarity. I know when I'm feeling good and when I'm feeling shit, or when I'm just kind of feeling indifferent or whatever.
Yeah.
And definitely that it helps. But then I guess the little drawback to that can be you never. I'm kind of very driven, like don't sit still sort of person. Yeah, so it's harder to switch off. It's like when I was on the booze and drugs, I was very much like a binge drinker, loads of cocaine, like just very much in that kind of culture. I weren't really a weed smoker or anything like that. I never smoked like tobacco or anything, but I've actually I really enjoy a cigar now. Randomly, I got into cigars. And I do like I have the odd puff of a joint now and again with pals, and that's quite nice actually. That kind of mellows me. Not that I'm not endorsing drug taking on a podcast,
but it's like
but it shows the difference in my personality as well from how it used to be. And
it's not like waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning and going, oh, I've got to smoke, I've got to have this.
Yeah, I don't binge any of it.
No,
I mean, it's a treat.
It's not that self-destructive.
Yeah.
So when I stopped drinking every day, which was about 15 years ago now, I kind of stopped getting stoned. Like I used to just smoke and drink, like smoke ganja and like fucking loads every day.
Yeah.
Like when I got home from work, I just do it until I passed out, get up and go. And I did that for about 15 years as well. So when I stopped doing it, just going, right, I'm just going to do it at weekends and on Thursdays when I do this. But that was a massive step for me. That was like, oh, I'm not doing that big self-destructive shit. But I didn't feel that much better. And then I found, like, say if I had a week off of work, I would just get drunk all week. And I'd sit up till 4 o'clock in the morning and just get really fucking wankered. Yeah. It's only been the last few years and I've stopped doing that. I feel better for it. Oh, fuck, I feel like so. But, so what I was going to get at, really, was I was talking about this with one of my other friends, Stu, who we all know. About and he's much like you, he's just like on it. And I've got, since doing this, I've started to realise that I can do that as well. Yeah, like, I've started to realise that I can do things, which is quite new for me. But that idea of no, I want more. Like let's make it work. And I have to keep telling myself, well, I can't do much more than I am. But talking to him about saying. I said to him, like, how do you actually switch off then? Because you're always driven. And he's always been like that. Yeah. And it, like, but within that, you have got to switch off at some point.
You do, man.
Because if you don't, you do crash and burn.
Oh, you do,
like,
yeah.
Especially if you've got mental health problems.
Yeah.
Like you've got to accept that every few months you're going to crash.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, that's something that happens to me. I do get dangerously close to burnout,
because you're hyper vigilant all the time. And that is exhausting. Not exhausting necessarily physically, but mentally. and being that hypervigilant, and on top of that, you're just staving off anxiety and depression, because that's what I found.
Yeah.
I was always staving off depression and self-destruction. That in itself was wearing me out.
Yeah.
Without everything else, like work and shit as well.
Yeah.
So that balance in there, like going back to my daughter, I was saying to my daughter, like, she's going, well, when I come to my exams, like, that's all I've got to do. I'm like, no. You've got to do the things you like to balance out the fucking stress that you get from that.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'll just drive yourself into the ground like a peg, wouldn't you?
How do you manage that then?
It's difficult, mate. That's probably like my biggest challenge now. But I've got better at like delegating tasks to like people that I work with. That's a big thing. Was a bit of a micromanager and control freak up until about a year ago, I guess, and I've just sort of started to learn that. A lot of like business books have helped me actually in that respect, and I've been like kind of binging like self-help books for a few years now.
Amazing,
a lot of good stuff in those.
Yeah. Have you got any recommendations?
Yeah, well, funny, I've actually I've taken an interest into Nichiren Buddhism through my friend Mitch from The Milk, the drummer from The Milk, and very much a newbie, do you know what I mean? So I'm still kind of like, learning, but there's some things I've taken. So there's a book called The Reluctant Buddhist that Mitch lent me. That's a bit of a life changer.
Ooh,
it's really, really cool. There's a bit in it. Yeah, it's called The Reluctant Buddhist, and it's by William Woodard. Great book.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
So there was certain things in that just blew my mind overnight. They have like the 10 life states, and it basically breaks down like the 10 kind of modes we're constantly in, and like, so you have like this, you have the lower worlds, which is like the hell state, the state of animality, a hunger state.
I've heard of some of this.
Yeah, and then as you get higher, you have like the stage of bodhisattva, which is like helping others and doing things for others, and Buddhahood and learning and realization, and like getting my head around those 10 life states, or the 10 worlds they're sometimes referred to as. That's really helped me organise my nut. Like, it's like a good kind of like foundation for me. And just from that kind of, just taking that section alone, I now chant every day. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, which is like the chant of the Lotus Sutra, just kind of out of respect for what that's given me. Like,
love that. So good.
And I'm kind of like, I'm still like way not that far down the rabbit hole yet. It's part of my life every day. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm conscious that I'm not like hugely educated yet on it. I've still got so much to learn.
It's changing them little daily habits though.
But I've just found like, there's so much of the kind of like doctrine has just really helped me, like really resonated with me.
I
like,
love that. That's so
the
good.
podcasts are great. That
what's really had me recently, and you saying that really just fucking echoes my kind of recent thoughts were, and like, I was talking to someone at work, and they were saying that they did like yoga when they wear a mask so they can properly let themselves go.
Is that dogging?
But I think what happens is, say like last year when I had my meltdown and like thought let's do this, was when I did the course of transcendental meditation, and all right, that didn't stick, but I did learn a lot of things still. But what it did do for me was that realisation that that all of that stuff that I used to say was fucking bollocks. I'm like, I fucking know. I like buildings. I don't like trees. I used to hate countryside. Like,
really?
I vehemently detest countryside. Avoid countryside.
Right.
Now I'm like, I enjoy the view. And I used to hate. Stuart used to fucking get the ump with me. He'd go, look at that view, and I'd be like, well, that's fucking boring, mate. And I used to carry, like when we did the band, I used to carry a telly round with me, like black and white telly. So wherever we went, if we were there for any length of time, like a sound check, plug it in, I'd watch a film. Because I was so vehemently against
in
anything,
your own bubble,
anything like that, because that is how I protected myself.
Yeah.
And I've learned over the last year that I was completely wrong. And actually, I think kind of what you're describing, and it reminds me of stuff Russell Brand says. And like years ago, I would have gone, "Oh, it's full of shit." But now I'm like, no, that's about connection. It's about connection to like the world and the universe and all of those things.
Yeah.
And I just think like I'm learning more and more. And then you say that, and I learn a bit more. And I think if you're struggling with life, like to feel more connected to life makes you feel better.
Definitely. Yeah.
You don't need religion. You just like those kind of really simple concepts of like you're not actually you're really tiny in this world.
That's right.
And because you're so small, you don't have to worry.
Yeah.
Like that's a really great message.
It's powerful, isn't it?
It's like actually, what you do is really insignificant.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, it kind of just takes lightens a load, doesn't it? When you think like that, you're like, oh yeah, actually, what does it fucking matter? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's as simple
on
as
that
that.
bigger scale, it sort of makes it a bit easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And then things that do touch other people, like generally, you think about songs. Like you think about for us being musos, like the stuff that touches us is like a lyric, and those lyrics are normally touch us because they're emotional. You're like, that's all that fucking matters.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, everything else don't really money and all that other shit.
Nah, I mean,
as long as you're all right, the rest of it don't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, you're only going to get certain levels of happiness from like the material aspects of life, aren't you? Like you're going to get, again, going back to the Nichiren Buddhism thing, they sort of say like relative happiness is what you get from them, but absolute happiness is just like a clear, grateful state of mind that won't be too greatly moved, like by whatever's happening in your external circumstances. Just having that, not like stoic thing, but just having that grounding all the time and being able to appreciate everything for what it is.
In the traditional sense of the word, as in the idea that happiness comes from within. People don't always see that with Stoicism, but Stoicism basically is happiness comes from within.
Yeah.
And it was more than a year ago. I was seeing this therapist, Chris, who was really, really great. And he was just like, you're looking elsewhere for happiness. You're looking everywhere else to try and be happy. And like, that's because I spent my life doing it. He was like, because I'm not good enough to get it. And then one day he was like, no, you've got it all wrong. Like, it's inside. Happiness is about like what you think and how you feel about yourself. It's not about fucking things, trinkets.
Nah, that's right. Yeah, trinkets. Yeah,
and that's all bullshit.
I mean, you get a little bit of gratification out of that stuff. I mean, like a guitar, right? A lot of pleasure. But at the same time, it ain't the fucking be all and end all absolute answer, is it? It's just, it's, and I think that's the trouble. Like I think the it's good. Like obviously, it's amazing what you guys are doing here. And although social media definitely has its negative aspects, it's great that people are talking like this more. Do you know what I mean?
I think they are talking more. My friend's been full up of stuff about mental health lately.
Because I think like before, like I don't know, like us lot growing up, we were kind of like what we were being sold through the media and stuff. The dream was all these nice things give you happiness.
Well,
nice car, nice fucking house.
Yeah.
It's all about money.
Nice house, nice big house, nice motor.
I watched a film today about it, about like when like everyone was getting a mortgage without having any money and that kind of thing. Because you can have everything now.
Yeah.
And actually, it's like not that you need everything. It's like most things don't really matter.
That's right. Yeah, and I feel what's great about social media is it's giving everyone a voice and a platform now.
Yeah, I agree.
And brave individuals like yourselves are talking about the shit that really matters, getting to the core. I
appreciate
that. Exactly.
It's not always
it can
easy.
Be used for positive means. I totally agree with that. A lot of people slag it off, but if it weren't for social media, we probably wouldn't be sitting here.
No.
And I wouldn't be talking to you.
No,
so it's worth it.
It's giving my band a platform, so it is what it, obviously there are negative aspects, but that's life, isn't it?
Yeah. How do you find the response to it all? Because obviously, like, we're just sort of blown up.
I tell you what, when you started the Deaf Guitar Pop, there was I thought, because I'm into scooters, isn't I? So, and I used to buy a scooter magazine like every month.
I didn't know this about you.
Yeah, I've got a Pucker Vespa.
Have you?
Yeah,
Oh, wicked, man.
So like I got into scooters about 20 years ago. I've had Vespas pretty much ever since. And so when you started doing that, I just thought, you can't lose.
No.
Because even if all you did was go and play all the I'm on like, a lot of different like scooter forums, and they're always having nights.
Yeah, weekenders and
like,
stuff.
I think even if it didn't go much further, you could probably make a living out of it.
Mate, it's
just playing
crazy.
The scooter things.
Yeah, I mean that
they just keep going.
That subculture is so fucking behind live music. You know, it's it's a real blessing. I knew that it was popular, but I didn't quite realise just how like there's something going on like every weekend all over the world. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Everything from like, you know, I don't know, 150 people in the Traitors Gate or whatever at a Scar night, right up to Madness doing Clapham Common or whatever.
There's something or that New Year's Eve gig or something. It's crazy,
and there's like rallies, like constant. It's just great, and I love all the mods and the skinheads just love live music.
The video that I saw, I think it might have been at the Traitors Gate. I can't remember, but I think it's one of your club nights. I don't know whether you're playing live or whether you're playing music, but there must have been like what looked like just a room full of people singing, laughing, jumping about, and just having like all my hairs going up, like the best time. And I was like, man, that's so like that is it. Like,
that's what it's all about.
If you just keep doing that every weekend, mate, it's fucking incredible.
If you can do that and do catchy tunes, then everyone remembers them quickly. What I've really noticed is that everyone sings along.
Yeah.
And you're like, fucking, that's gold.
Know the words.
That's gold.
Yeah, it's cool.
But I was thinking, like, I was looking into it like last year about like I don't belong to any clubs, and just because I don't know, it feels like I like to be an outsider. I'd like to have my own club.
Just have an outsiders club with all the outsiders.
Yeah, and like just in Brentwood, there's like 5 scooter clubs.
Is there 5 in Brentwood? Yeah, wow.
And that's just Brentwood. There's big scooter scene in Brentwood.
Wow.
And what I noticed was that they would always have the same bands, like the same, basically covers bands, and always the same. And like they'd have a night on, most of them are charity nights, and they'd always have the same covers bands. And it's like, that's a bit boring, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Bad Manners must have just made their living off of it and stuff like that.
Mate, they're road dogs, Bad Manners. They're still smashing it now, just man. Like, they're out like nearly every night, touring, making a really good living out of it.
I'll be honest,
and then you come along and you give them something new. A new band with like younger people. Like, I'm not surprised they jumped on it. I really, like, when you first did it, I was like, I could see that working, man.
In the same day as I saw one of your posts, I see Bad Manners touring where they're all stacked, their heads are stacked up on a thing, and I went, I don't know why, I've just got this feeling I can see you going on tour with someone like that.
Cool,
like
man.
Bad Manners, like Selector, or like specials or something, like support acts. I don't know. There's no reason why it wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
like for me, it's like probably just a matter of time.
There's not really anyone else. There's not really. Bands doing it.
There's a few, but only really like I don't know. There's probably like 10, I guess, around the world. Like,
amazing.
You know what I mean? I watched there was a documentary that Noisy put out a few years ago. It was called, I think it was called Under the Influence. It was all the different subcultures, and Scar. Like I watched this episode about Scar, and that's all I've been listening to. Like, so I always loved like Madness. Growing up, they were like my first kind of musical love. Like my dad sort of pushed that on me very young.
Yeah, it's my mum for me, that Complete Madness album. Like I know the orders of the songs, all of the words and that, the inlay.
Singing Madness in the car.
Wow,
and I wanted to be Suggs like right from a young age. And then obviously like you get into different things when you grow up, and then SOE was like an indie band, wasn't it? But I'd been getting like I've been listening to a lot of Madness again, and then I started going down a rabbit hole and listening to the rest of the Two-Tone back catalogue and Trojan and stuff. Then I watched this documentary and felt like got educated myself on like Sublime and all the American stuff that happened in the early 90s. And I don't know, like I just thought, mate, like it's kind of like it's like our responsibility to try and keep this going. It was such a great little documentary. I think it's only like 10 minutes long or whatever, but it really kind of just captured like you know, this beautiful worldwide subculture and the story of it. And I thought, I wonder if I could contribute, you know.
That's so
that
cool.
was my, yeah, that was like, and that was like before I started, kind of just before I started writing it.
Yeah. So did you like, was it just you initially? Were you writing songs? Like how did,
Johnny?
yeah, how did he get involved?
So it was, yeah, I wrote like Rickety Old Train, and another song on the first album called Trivial Talk. And then, do you know our song Scar is the Bollocks? If you
Yeah, the video, was there a video for that one?
Yeah, it was a ridiculous one where I'm driving around in gold Bentley.
Yeah.
So that we wrote like a kind of a funny like song
like
about it.
Washing cars.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? And it's exactly how it happened naturally.
But what I
ain't got
like
a gold
about that
Bentley
is
yet.
that you cross genres there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You cross into like hip hop.
Yeah.
That's, mate, I'm so glad you picked up on that. Because I was really inspired by an ASAP Mob video, actually. Yeah, I love me hip hop. I just thought it'd be funny to put two skinny white guys like, in this hip hop, like doing a Chaz and Dave inspired like fusion of ska or whatever. But yeah, it happened like that, mate. I was on a car valeting job with my brother like one Saturday, and I was thinking about these new songs that I'd written, and I thought, oh, you know, could kind of try and progress this now. I'm enjoying this, and then Johnny just kind of popped into my head, and I thought it'd be good to do it with Johnny, because we played in bands together on the Essex music scene. Yeah, yeah, and Johnny and I always got on like a house on fire, and yeah, I just, he's always had that kind of quintessentially like British songwriting style, you know. And so I just thought, and like Tomorrow Men were like mods, really. That was their thing, you know. And I thought he'd be a good partner in prime for this, yeah. And yeah, that's how it kind of come about, really. We just got together, that summer, and just started writing songs together. So yeah.
Even like when you see two people together like that, even when like last time I see you, that's lovely. Like you can kind of see, sometimes you ain't even got to speak to each other. You can kind of see that, like answering questions for each other and stuff like that. It's fucking great.
I think the other thing is that like Johnny's kind of he's more aloof.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like, that kind of works.
Yeah,
it's nice when like, when two people just really. I'd say the other thing I really, really like about your band is that, and what I also really like about all you Brentwood guys, and I always kind of call you the Brentwood contingent.
Fair play, yeah.
Is that you all really look after each other.
Yeah.
So your band now, you've still got like Bonsai
And Luke, yeah.
and Luke, who are in States of Emotion.
Yeah.
Bonsai, I've totally got a soft spot for. I can't help it.
Best person in the world. I love him.
Really
yeah.
love Bonsai. I think, but like when we used to go to like White Room rehearsing, Luke always looked too cool for school. and he's always got an amazing girlfriend. And,
yeah.
And I was like, I didn't really. I spoke to him less than everyone else. I've definitely got a soft spot for Brick, and I'm surprised
You've got a lot in common, haven't you, Brick?
Yeah, me and Brick kind of hit it off really quickly.
Yeah, you got a lot in common, you guys, haven't you? Yeah, I mean, we're still well close, all of us. You know, I went out for a curry with Brick
really
just the other week.
Man.
Yeah, but do you know? Funny you should say that. When Serious Problem played at Grey Civic Hall,
I was there.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a gathering of all of us, kind of alternative folk, wasn't it?
To you loads, and George as well. I've got a proper soft spot for George.
What, Mark's George? Yeah, he's a diamond, isn't he? Yeah. But yeah, I remember like it was like me. Well, us that we played, didn't we? We opened or something like that. And I remember being at the bar, kind of looking at all you guys, like talking and that, like Jeremy, is it, and Stu and Wayne and that. And I thought like, this is us. Do you know what I mean? I just looked at you guys and I was like, it's just so us lot. Do you know what I mean?
It's really.
Yeah.
You're stuck in your little. Because the thing is, you're like in the suburbs, aren't you? It was like Bowie did that song Buddha of Suburbia, and he was always talked about him being in the suburbs,
right?
And everything going on in the city. And then because you're in the suburbs, you pull together. Like you stick with the people who are your tribe.
Yeah.
And like you fucking stay with them.
Yeah,
it's weird,
definitely.
I mean, that changes. I found that changes as the years go on. But yet, still, like, Jeremy's coming on in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Is he? Wicked.
Yeah,
I can't
like,
wait.
I was still mates.
His son's an amazing guitarist, isn't he?
I see him playing with, is it Rudy?
Yeah.
That's so cool, mate.
But I don't think he really gets it. I don't think he really knows how good he is.
He's so good.
Unreal.
Like,
Yeah, because he started playing and then he was doing percussion on the side of the thing. That's like, that's crazy.
He's really He's really talented.
Surrounded by it, mate, aren't we?
Yeah. But it must be weird, though, because, like your brother Matt, who, like, his band, or the band he was doing, I've really associated with that band.
Yeah.
So like, that is a fucking bit of me.
It's a lot of Verve influence and shoegaze and that. Yeah.
Electric Child House.
Oh my God, yeah, of course, yeah.
That's the hour. Time's up, motherfuckers.
Well, I went to see them one time and I'm like, oh, they're fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
They're fucking brilliant. And now he's doing something else.
Yeah.
I'm like, I really would have liked to see them do it. You know.
I know. I was heartbroken when they, kind of disbanded. But at least he's on to the next thing. Do you know what I mean?
That's
his new stuff, Grunges, I like as well.
Like
oh
it,
yeah, I see that actually. Yeah, really like
Sucking on bass actually. Yeah. Good fun, isn't it?
I don't think it's that grungy though. It's more like it's a bit more kind of fucking psych.
Yeah.
The old stuff was obviously.
Yeah. The name is just more about like what we were talking about earlier. Actually, just being a bit of an outcast growing up and being like labelled
sort of thing.
Yeah, for just being a musician or whatever,
cool.
dresses in baggy clothes or whatever.
Yeah, we chatted on Messenger about Exit Calm because I fucking love Exit
what
Calm.
a band, man!
What a band! And they came to nothing, which is a real shame because they're amazing. And he was like, "Oh, I played with them." And I'm like, "Of course I know you fucking."
I remember that show.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I met the guitar player, and I'm just like, "You're fucking brilliant." Bow down. And then on the way, it was at Camden Crawl, well, it wasn't called that now. And then I got the train out of Camden, and the singer got on. And he was the most bitter, angry.
No, really?
I hate when that happens.
Shit, man.
Well, yeah. You might think that, but I'm on a building site tomorrow.
Fuck, man.
And I was like, I only started listening to you because Nick McKay recommended you. And he was like, oh, yeah, I don't like him.
No way. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Fucking great band.
Yeah.
The Rapture.
The Rapture, that album is my... Like, over the last couple of years, I go back to that album constantly.
I was listening to it literally the other week. Yeah, it's great.
One of my favourites. So, before we finish, the one thing that really occurs to me is that you've struggled with anxiety and depression. And what I really want to kind of get at is the fact that you struggle with all those things, but you're out there pushing it and you fought against everything and you've done it all yourself to make a successful band with 1 million hits on YouTube. 1 million hits on YouTube.
Crazy, mate. That's unreal.
And you've done that in spite of all this other shit. That's fucking impressive.
Thank you, mate.
It is though, isn't it?
That's really lovely. Thank you.
That impresses
beautiful.
me.
Mm.
And it's like, you know, if there's anything I want to tell the world, is that you can take these things and you can use them to make you better at shit. You don't have to let it fucking ruin you. You can get on top of it, and you don't have to fight it, but you can use it. To make you successful.
And it don't have to happen straight away. Like if it's not happening today, like it might happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's a different day, isn't it?
So I just kind of see you as a really inspiring person.
Thanks, man. That's lovely.
No, but it's totally true though. Like
Thank you.
Someone who's inspiring, who's battled all this fucking shit, but you're out there doing it for yourself, which just makes it all that much better anyway. But you've still gone and done it.
Hero,
you
mate.
haven't let it fucking hold you back.
Cheers, fellas.
It just blows me away. It really does.
Let's blow each other away now.
Let's blow each other away. Well, any last words?
Just thanks, mate, for coming on. Really appreciate it. It's
really
like
absolute pleasure, gents.
we're big supporters of what you're doing and that, and it's just nice
so
that you've made the time to come in. And
I just love it. I really love it. I find it really inspiring.
Yeah.
When people still do well, and they're still fucking fighting a battle.
Yeah.
You know, like you said earlier, you still fucking fight the battle, but yet you still get up and you get it done. And like, it just shows that we can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can get up and carry on and learn to, you know, you're never going to like eradicate all the fucking problems, you know, especially if you've got bad mental health problems, but you can find a way of coping with them and still have a good life and get on with it. Yeah. But
and turn it into an advantage.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess the more you deep dive and the more you have to learn, you know, I guess you cultivate more like emotional intelligence, don't you? So it makes you stronger.
And you can use it in songs.
Yeah.
I use it in art.
Yeah.
Like it can make it work.
Was that one of yours?
Yeah.
That's incredible, mate.
Yeah, that's the one behind me, Boston. Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Really
I was lovely to have you on.
It's good.
Right, we'll
Cheers,
say goodbye.
Love what you're doing here. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, mate. See you soon.